Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Wife Wednesday podcast. It's Wednesday, and I'm one of your wives, Sina.
And I'm Nicole.
Wife Wednesday podcast is a podcast that we created as a hobby, and it has now become an exciting journey for self-discovery. ... But really, we're just two women who talk about anything and everything. So come hang out with us. Grab your fries, it's ketchup time.
So, as I talked about previously, I got my brakes and muffler fixed, but it was squeaking every time I turned left. Like, no matter what. Nothing when I turned right or was just going straight left. So, a week later, I took it back in and apparently the fixtures that they put into the back left brake weren't sitting properly, so they replaced them, fixed it. Well, it was still squeaking because the front left one, the fixtures also weren't working. So they're like, all right, we'll replace them. They apparently didn't have the fixtures. So they were coming in the next morning. So at least I got my car by the afternoon the next day, but still don't like feeling stranded at my own home. Literally hate it.
The worst feeling.
Especially because I work from home. Like, it's nice because I can just drop off my car. But also, I'm trapped at home all day then.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Even if you weren't planning on leaving, it's the thought of not having the car.
Yes. Yeah.
It makes you feel helpless a little bit.
We had some pretty crazy snow days last week. Like, it was crazy. I have a desk that has a view now, and I was just watching it go from snowing to sunshine to hail.
Yeah.
Like, these are whiteout conditions, not just a little flurry. No, it was whiteout conditions. Nothing was sticking, but still, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It was not that way down where I was, but we still saw it change, like all the weather changed.
Dude,
we just kept watching it go from rain to snow to clear.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, okay, Ohio.
Also, spring cleaning's not going well, but I've been getting the itch. Like, I made up a whole list, and I told Josh, I'm like, every weekend, like, I made a list for every room. I was like, every weekend of May, we're going to do 1 or 2 rooms or whatever, at least 2, and I'll feel better. We're going to start at the top and work our way down, because cleaning the rooms and the fans is the most important thing to me.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah. As I told you earlier, I'm reading the Twilight books with Brittany. She's only seen the movies in bits and parts. Like, she hasn't seen them all the way through. And she's like, well, tell me this. She's like, I'm afraid to ask, but doesn't Jacob love Brittany? Bella? And I'm like, well, yes and no. She's like, well, how does he end up with her kid? I'm like, well, it's a lot. There's a lot to explain. She's like, well, I thought they ended up becoming lovers. I'm like, no, not at all. She's like, that's what I always assumed. I'm like, Brittany. No, baby. No, baby. No, I'm sorry to break your heart. But no. I can't focus on anything at work. I'm supposed to be reading these books with her. She has already finished the first book and then on to the second, and I am barely into the first book. And it's driving me crazy.
Are you physically reading or listening?
I'm listening.
Okay.
But I'm still going through that thing where I can't.
Like, you're hearing it, but nothing's sinking in?
Well, it's like I can start reading it, but then I get bored, so I have to move on. And then I get bored and I have to move on. Like, I'm not being able to just sit and, like, physically listen to something or watch something. It's just...
That's me with television.
Yeah, I know.
Television or movies, even though, like, I love them. I understand the feeling.
At work this week, they mowed the grass for the first time of the season.
Yeah.
And it was great because I smelled grass all day.
Fabulous.
It's one of my smells that I love.
Same with Hermione.
Yeah, I know. I've been weepy all week, which thought I had my false period the other day. Fluke. Literally, I don't know if it was like, hey, you almost had a urinary tract infection, but we took care of it for you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, whatever. Like, it was just, I literally that day, my whole body was in pain. I was sad all day. It was a bad day.
Were you ovulating?
I don't know.
Even though it's not supposed to make you, it's still a hormonal change.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I was trying to figure out if I was like stressed or anything. I am like, the only thing I'm stressed about
24/7.
Well, yes, but I mean like to the point where I'm like panicking. And I'm not.
Maybe it's the lack of panic.
Maybe.
Doesn't give you a drive.
I finally visited. They opened this past Monday, Haven.
Yeah.
It's beautiful
Way
inside.
to go, ladies.
Listen, we're going to have so much fun at our nail appointment.
When are we getting nails done?
In 3 weeks, May 10th.
Oh, I literally was telling my boss, Bridget, about this. And she's like, yeah, I heard about it because she lives in Orville.
She heard about it?
Yeah, she heard
about us?
Not us. Oh, God, no.
Oh, just Haven.
Just Haven.
Got
and I'm
you.
like, yeah, my girl Nicole, that's where she goes.
Yeah.
And she sees Hannah for her hair.
Yeah.
And Kaylee for her nails.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's Kaylee's work. And I pull up her Instagram and show it off.
But Titus and I have hair appointments tomorrow, thank God.
Yeah, I can see your roots, boo.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. But it's just so nice there. Like, it's like modern. You wouldn't know it from the outside kind of vibe. It's great.
I saw some of the pictures and everything just looks like so like
Dude,
clean, streamlined.
It is.
And I'm like,
the bathroom is the
perfect.
green that we want for our chairs or whatever.
That
we've
Viridian
talked
green
about.
or emerald green.
Yeah, it is.
Ugh, gorgeous.
I've been going through it this week to where I need physical touch. Yeah, I know. Literally, I've been like begging for Titus to cuddle me, and he doesn't want to. So that could also be why I'm weepy.
Because he's growing up.
And like, it's just the point of like when I'm cooking dinner, like I want Josh to be in there to be able to be available when I want to hold him. Like, I'm just...
Get with the program, Joshua.
Yeah. And he does. He just stands there, and when I want to lean on him, he'll just be there. Oh, Silas does the Naruto run right now.
Okay, I've literally been waiting for you to read that.
He literally goes...
It puts his arm behind him.
Yes! It's so funny! Oh, he face-planted at Lindsay's last night doing it. He laughed. So.
Oh. You know what's making me think of?
What?
Have you been listening to season 2 of Dungeons and Daddies?
Yeah, I'm listening to the newest episode.
Okay, so the character Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
He does the Naruto run thing.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yes. Oh, I skipped. I have a working microwave now. It's marvelous.
Round of applause.
Oh, it's great.
I feel like you said that last week too.
Did I? Well,
it's still working and it's still fabulous.
Fuck off. I said it again. I'm super happy. We've been playing outside today. It was great until Titus accidentally sprayed me with the hose and then accidentally did it again.
Oh,
therefore, we all stripped. Well, not all. They stripped down to their skivvies and then went inside because they were soaked already. And we were playing with worms. It was a great time. Tim, the worm.
Therese hates worms.
I know.
And the other day...
These were like earthworms, too.
When it was raining, I stepped outside of the doors at work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I locked them, and I was the first one out. And as I'm heading to my car, I look down, and there's this giant worm on the sidewalk. So I get down, I squat down, and I take a picture of it, and I send it to her.
Yeah.
And I was like, worms.
I've been trying to do my hair, and I've been successful at it. And today is the only day that I'm successful at putting on my makeup and make myself feel put together, but not to the point of uncomfortableness.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Just like a little bit of sassiness.
Like, I just need a little bit of oomph to make me, because I'm looking at these moms on TikTok or just in general who just look put together, but they're comfortable. And that's the vibe that I want. Like, I don't want my frizzy hair everywhere. I have to straighten it.
Because it makes you feel good.
Yes, it makes me feel good. I'm not doing it for anyone. It literally, putting on my makeup today, I was like, I am that bitch.
That's my goal tomorrow
And
morning.
I was okay scaring that Asian couple on the way here.
That was my favorite thing I've heard all day.
I literally was like, guard dog status. Here I am. Hear me roar. And that's it. That's it for my catch up.
So I have a story I'm starting with.
Okay.
So it starts with like, okay, I was tired yesterday. I don't want to cook. I'm on the phone with Andrew, and I've got the hands-free calling in my car.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. We're talking, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking cook. My mom had given me some HelloFresh, and I left it out all night.
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
So
ever.
that dinner was obviously done.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I don't want to fucking cook, so we're gonna go to Wendy's. I pull into Wendy's, and of course, like I said, Andrew and I are just chit chatting. And I go to pull up, and I see a black car, and then they pull forward, and they go up to the next window, and there was no line, which was odd because it was 5:00.
Yeah.
And so I pull up to the speaker, and they're like, "Hi, we'll be with you in a moment." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, cool, whatever." You know, I'm like, "Hey, Andrew, you still want this? Do you still want that?" And he's like, "I need some chicky nuggies and a Frosty." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna buy everything else on the menu."
Yeah.
And then a few moments later, this girl comes on the speaker, and she's like, "Hey, listen, so there's no manager here. There's no supplies here. There's no general manager we can get a hold of, so I can't take your order."
Oh my
and I was
gosh.
like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, and I had seen that other car was just, when I had pulled up to order, kind of stopped at the window and then left.
Yes.
So I was like, man, they got that really fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I pull out of there, and every other drive-through on Bell Avenue there was packed. So I drove to the Arby's at the north end.
It's the worst part of getting out at 5.
Yeah,
or
everything.
After 5.
Yeah. And so I go up to the Arby's up there, and even though it still had a line, it has a better parking lot to sit in.
Agreed.
So I was like, all right, fine, whatever. And I had my book with me.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in line reading this book, talking to Andrew.
Wait, Arby's right up here? Or
no, the
you
one
went to the good one.
Yeah, the good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though I sat in that line for 20 minutes, I had my book, and it was fine. And like, I'm ordering, and I don't know if they had the lady in front of me. The lady in front of me is like, "Well, do you have this? Do you guys still make this? Do you make this?" And they're like, "No, that's not on the menu." And she's like, "Well, I guess I'll just have this." And it was just like fries or something. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. And so like I pulled up, and they're like, "Oh, it'll be one moment." And you've been in the car with me. Yes. I am so sickly sugary nice to like when I order.
Yeah.
And so, they finally get to me, and they're like, "Hey, welcome to Arby's. What can I get for you?" And I'm just like, "Hi, can I get blah, blah, blah?" And like it was a guy, whole demeanor changed. And he's like, "Yeah, of course. Is there anything else you want, hon?"
Yeah.
And I'm still on the phone with Andrew.
Yes.
And I'm like, "No, blah, 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 it's fine." And I pull forward, and I'm like, "Andrew, did you hear that? I got a hun." That was a good click.
That was great.
That was a fantastic
that was great.
click. But really, like, sitting there in the sun with my book and the windows open and the wind was blowing through.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was cooler than it is today.
Yes.
And it was perfect. And I came home, he and I ate, and then I went out and laid in the hammock and I read more. And and then he brought Percy out and put Percy in between my legs. So Percy and I sat in the hammock and read together. It was everything my soul needed. Bless you. So, I'm going to talk about my spring cleaning successes.
Oh, yeah, I'm here for it.
First of all, the other night I went and I need to get garden shears because I was using a pair of sewing scissors and they're dull now.
Yeah.
But I was cutting all like the sticks and the reeds and any of like the dried dead plants from last year.